Hola y buenos dias from Puerto Vallarta. People ask us all the time, hey Doug, Michelle, how did you guys do this? How did you make a decision and 6 weeks later you were living in a foreign country? So we're gonna break it down into 3 simple things, and then we're gonna in further videos we'll flesh those out a little bit further. But number 1 is Michelle made the decision that she was not happy and she wanted to go explore other things, other cultures, other places. We didn't have a big dog. We didn't have kids in the house. This was a good time for us to go. We didn't have a ton of money. That's a misnomer. Oh, you guys must be wealthy. Far from it. We just had to figure out how to make it work. So number 1 is we wanted to look for a place that checked off enough boxes, and that means looking at the residency stuff. That means making sure our passports were in order, our birth certificates were covered, and they were stamped. Our marriage certificate was dialed in. All the paperwork you might need, you can then decide if am I gonna try and immigrate and get residency there, or do I just want to use a passport right now and use a temporary travel visa? You can go to a lot of countries around the world for 6 months on a U.S. visa or a U.S. passport. 6 months is a long time. We came down here for 2 months just to check it out, make sure we liked it before we got serious with the consulate and everything we needed to do. So number 1 is you got to decide you want to do this and pick where is going to check enough boxes for you. Number 2 is you got to get really serious about your finances, because ultimately, you're going to live and die by your finances, right? So once you've decided that this is where I want to be, regardless of where it is, now you got to get into the mathematics of it all. Math this shit out. What's the cost for rent or housing? What's the cost for food? What's the cost for utilities? What's the cost for medical, transportation, right? We landed in a place where you can get around largely by taxi, so we don't need a vehicle. We did some preliminary research and found that the medical insurance was way, way cheaper. Private medical insurance in Mexico is way, way cheaper than it is in the U.S. We're going to be paying, we think, about $350 once we solidify all this when we come back down next month. But $350 a month for pretty solid day-to-day type stuff, and everything else is way cheaper. Like big surgeries are just going to be way cheaper down here, and we all know that. And an awful lot of insurances are still going to jam you up pretty good in the U.S. for medical. My medical up there was almost $1,400 a month. So $350, $1,400. That's over $1,000 a month in savings. It's a lot of dough, right? But you got to math all that out and figure out what your monthly nut is going to be wherever you're going, right? And then figure out, how am I going to cover that? Now, for us, we were concerned about that. So we came up with, not only do I have stuff I do in the U.S. in the financial sector, but we also came up with 10 or 11 other side hustles, if you will. These are all things you can actually do without licensing, make real money, especially if you're good at sales or good at social media. And you can reach out to us privately and we can explain that to you, what we do. This is not a course we're selling. This is literally us helping you do what we did, okay? And you can get there pretty quickly if you're a hustler. And here's the third thing. Ready? It seems logical, but most people miss it. You got to just decide to take action. Grip and rip, all gas, no brakes. At some point, you need to decide, I don't know everything I think I should know. That's a risk. I'm okay with that. I want to go. This is going to be an adventure, and go. Do it. At some point, you just got to do it. And that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of people plan their lives away and don't do anything of any import because they're so worried about the details, they don't get on with the fact of doing the do. You're doing the deal, right? At some point, you just got to do it. And I think that's what really kind of separated us, is that we took action, we did research, and then we went. And everything's an adventure, getting around. We're talking to our taxi drivers a lot using translators right now. Grocery stores are comical because it's all in Spanish. I couldn't imagine personally moving to like China or Thailand, because that would even be more foreign to us, right? But growing up in the southwest of the United States, we see enough Spanish that we're getting by and we're figuring it out, right? But at some point, you gotta just make it happen. Good luck. Watch for more contents. Please like, share, and follow. We'll be back soon.